Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Higurashi. Last thing I remember, that's right, there was Creepy Van that was waiting for Rena, and Rena was concerned about Creepy Van, so he at least had that confirmed for us. Now I remember. That was fun. Something about, the notebooks and all.
すまなかった、レナ。俺はどこかでレナの話を疑ってたよ。本当にすまない。
いいよ、ケイチ君。そのおかげで待ち伏せをやり過ごせたんだしね。
あいつらは何者なんだ。そのお社様信仰を復活させようとする信者の集団の手先。
彼らにはそういう自覚はないと思う。彼らを操っている黒幕はそうなんだと思うけどね。多分ダム戦争の当時から陰で様々な工作をしてきた連中なんだと思う。
ダム戦争の最中に園崎家が裏でいろいろと暗躍したって話は俺も少しは聞いたことがあるな。
有名な話だよね。これは大石さんに聞いたんだけど、ダム戦争の最中に誘拐事件があったんだって。これも秘密の事件なんだけど、なんでも建設大臣の孫を誘拐してダム建設中止の約束を裏取引したんだって。
大臣の孫を誘拐？おいおい、そんなの聞いたことないぞ。
大臣が犯人との取引に応じる姿勢を見せたため、事件を公にしないことになったんだって。
Yeah, this was from the section with Akasaka-san. Akasada? I can't remember his name, actually. That was that section.
大石さんは当時、その事件に関わったから知ってるんだって。
それで？
大石さんが言うには、孫の誘拐や大臣の脅迫などの手口は恐ろしいほどに高度だったんだって。その事件は園崎家が命令を下したことだけは分かっているけど、結局未解決なんだって。当時園崎家の当主である園崎お涼は武装闘争の方針を打ち出していて、配下である暴力団組織の中に特攻隊を組織したそうなの。ダム計画の撤回がどうしても望めないときは建設省に突入して武力制圧しようなんて、そんな物騒な計画を本気で練っていたらしいの。
Everybody knows that the Sonozaki family had tried to stop the dam project, even if it meant breaking the law. So I wasn't so surprised to hear that she had a dangerous plan like that. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Mion who came up with the idea. The plan sounded just like her.
結局、その計画は計画のままで終わったんだけど、それを実行するための特攻隊の訓練というのは行われていて、相当高度なものだったらしいよ。
Oishi had uncovered the information right after the dam conflict ended. At the time, Oryu even said that if the village was going to be submerged, all members of the Onigafuchi Guardians would choose to stay in their houses and drown. You know, I just realized something. Something that feels fairly obvious, but, well, maybe it's not. I don't know. That the whole, flooding the village with the gas thing, the village got flooded with gas and everyone died, you know, thing that happened a couple chapters, whatever, season, something, back. That's kind of analogous to the whole area getting flooded by water and becoming, you know, uninhabitable. Presumably anyone who was still living there would drown and die. So it's sort of like the same thing. Intriguing. Sorry, I just had the revelation all of a sudden. I'm like, I'm pretty sure everyone else has realized this by now. Anyway. So, because Oryu was behind those things, I couldn't just laugh off the idea of an armed assault on the Ministry of Construction. According to the information Oishi seized, she planned a suicide mission as a last resort when the dam conflict started to heat up, in case their resistance wasn't successful. She'd actually obtained weapons and put people through training for the sake of that plan. The Special Attack Corps were flown to America, having received a huge amount of money from Oryu for the operation. In the southern desert of the United States, some retired military soldiers gave them highly professional training. While the plan was never carried out, the Special Attack Corps became a death squad under the direct control of Oryu after they came back from America. They were involved in many unsolved terrorist incidents, and they succeeded in kidnapping the grandson of the minister as well.
嘘みたいな話だな。
みーちゃんがよくヘリの操縦から無線機まで何でもできるみたいなことを言うでしょ。あれは本当。みーちゃんも当時その訓練に参加してるらしいよ。
じゃああいつ本当？
まあみーちゃんの話はともかく、このひなみ沢には大臣の孫すらも誘拐できるだけの暗殺部隊が存在するってことだけは疑っちゃダメ。
I didn't take a close look at the four men in the white van today, but thinking about it, they did look professional in a way. They were pretending to be just taking a break, but I could tell they were tense the whole time.
それであいつらはレナの命を狙っているのか？
多分狙ってはいないと思う。殺すだけだったら私もう殺されてるよ。
じゃあ狙いはまさかあれか、高野さんのスクラップ帳。
圭一君が見た通り、連中は相当警戒心が強いみたいで、隙を見つけない限りは強引な手段に訴えてこないみたいなの。だって強引な連中なら私の自宅の寝込みを襲えばいいんだから。
それをしないってことは結構慎重だってことになるな。
多分私がスクラップ帳を持っているという確信がないからだと思うの。彼らはミオさんを殺し、持っていたスクラップ帳を全て処分しようとした。ところが一番重要な数冊が抜けていた。それで自分が狙われているのを察して誰かに預けたんじゃないかと考えてるんだと思うの。その有力候補が私なんだと思う。でも確証がないから強引な手段に訴えられないんだろうね。
レナ、お前かなりヤバい橋を渡ってるんじゃないのか？
そうだね。ちょっと怖いかな。でもそう簡単には消されないよ。私は大石さんと連携している。有事の際に備えて常に連絡を取り合っているしね。
そうだ、大石さんはどう言ってるんだよ。
大石さんも園崎家が何らかの暗躍をしていないか監視してくれてるよ。
高野さんのスクラップ帳の話はしたのか？
話してない。
警察には話した方がいいだろう。それに警察ならきっと力になってくれるぞ。
圭一君、私は君にだって信じてもらえるか自信がなくて話せないでいるんだよ。
Sorry, I was running on autopilot there for a second and I realized I didn't know what we were talking about. So I needed to scroll back and reread some stuff. Anyway, the line we missed was, I don't think Oishi-san would believe me if I told him any of this.
もう煙に巻くのはなしだ。話してくれ。一体何なんだ？何がスクラップ帳に書いてあるんだ？高野さんが消されるほどの何が書いてあるんだ？
簡単に言うと、このスクラップ帳に書いてあることが事実なら、彼らの神が貶められることになるの。
神を貶める？
そう、お社様の神聖性が失われてしまう。だからお社様信仰を復活させようとする彼らは絶対に伏せたいと思っているの。
すまんレナ、もう少し分かりやすく言ってくれ。つまりどういうことなんだ？
つまりお社様は神様じゃないってことなの。
神様じゃない？
I had no idea what she read that made her so certain, but whatever it was, it'd be sacrilegious for people who believed so strongly in Oyashiro-sama.
お社様の教えっていくつもあるけど、その原点はたったの一つしかない。それは中から出るな、外から入るなというもの。この大原則を守るためにその他の教義を発展させたと言ってもいいくらい。隣人を愛せとか家内安全とか縁結びの神様なんてのは本当に後から取ってつけたものでしかないの。
In other words, Oyashiro-sama existed solely to stop the villagers from going outside the village. Oyashiro-sama doesn't bless the villagers or protect them from disasters. The people believe that Oyashiro-sama does all that for them, but the truth is that the people abused his name for that purpose, generation after generation, and nothing more than that. Why did Oyashiro-sama descend in the first place? Because demons came out of the Onagafuchi swamp and attacked people.
実はこの時点で解釈が違ってたの。鬼が湧き出して襲ったんじゃない。湧き出したものにやられると人々を襲う鬼になるの。
湧き出したもの？どういう意味だよ、レナ。
Whatever came out of the swamp possessed people, crawled into their blood, controlled them, and turned them into demons. People had no resistance against whatever it was that came out of the swamp. They became demons, attacked other villagers, and turned them into demons as well. That's right. It was a weird infectious disease that broke out from the swamp. It made the infected people go out of control. The villagers saw this disaster and explained it like so. Evil demons came out from the bottom of the swamp, possessed people, and turned them into demons as well. That is the truth of the story of the demons that came out of the Onagafuchi swamp.
確かにそれだと伝説をうまく説明できるな。じゃあお社様ってのはひょっとして異国から来た医者？
そうだね。正確には正しくないけど、そう、医者と呼べる存在。それが降臨して伝染病を治療したの。でもそれは治療ではなく対処療法でしかなかった。
All his treatment could do was reduce the symptoms of the infection. Villagers could have their symptoms suppressed, but there was no way to kill the parasites that had infested them. After a while, the village was divided into two groups. One group was made up of the people who were already infected, and the other consisted of the people who weren't. Without a cure for the disease, the uninfected looked down on the people who could only suppress their violent symptoms. They even talked about drowning them in the swamp. But they knew killing the infected people wouldn't solve the problem. The parasites came out of their water sources, including Onagafuchi Swamp. They couldn't fill them all in, for if they did that, they would lose their access to drinking water. They could have chosen to leave the village, but that was hard for them, for it was the location of their ancestors' graves. Under the power of Oyashiro-sama, infected people could live without showing symptoms. So both those who were infected and those who weren't decided to live together equally and to coexist with the parasite. Oyashiro-sama was impressed by the villagers' decisions. He decided to stay there and continue to treat them.
それがお社様がこの地にとどまり、人と鬼の生活を見守ったの真相か。
そしてお社様は感染者である村人たちに症状を出さないために掟を作った。その最大にして唯一のものが村から出てはいけない、外から人を入れてはいけないだったの。
外から人を入れてはいけないってのはわかるぜ。感染者を増やさないためだろう。でも出てはいけないってのはどういう意味なんだ？寄生虫たちは気候や風土の関係で
このひなみ沢の地でしか生けられないらしいの。だから宿主である感染者がこの地を離れようとすると強い症状を出してそれを妨害するの。その妨害こそがいわゆるお社様のたたりの正体。
The strongest symptoms of the infectious disease were violence and delirium. The infected people acted just like demons, and the impact seeing them in the throes of the disease was strong enough to make the others describe them as such. They couldn't even let people leave who had just come to the village. If they had left after being infected, they might go crazy in a faraway land, turn into a vicious demon, and cause a disaster. Infected people were never allowed to leave. When an infected person left the village, they brought him back by any means necessary. That was what it really meant to be demoned away.
ちょっと待てよレナ。だとしたら俺やレナも
Yep.
村人はみんなその病気に感
Sorry,
染していることに
Keiichi.
なるよな。
You have the bug now.
でも俺たちはひなみ沢を離れたって別に何の問題もないぞ。実際村人にも結婚したりして遠方に住んでる人も少なくないらしいじゃないか。ひなみ沢をちょっと離れたからって錯乱して鬼と化したなんて聞いたことないぞ。
そう、それはまさにお社様の目論見通りにことが進んだからなんだよ。意味がわかるかな。この村を長い間封印してきたのは寄生虫の害を弱めるためなの。
Hosts are very important for parasites. If something happens to the host, the parasite that live in the host have to share the same fate. In other words, if the host went crazy and attacked people, the host would be captured and killed, which means that the parasites would die with the host too.
そうか、自然淘汰か。
さすが圭一君。そう、この地で長く生活を重ね、厳しい戒律で生活を続けた結果、寄生虫に対し過敏な人間は錯乱して結局殺された。また感染者を錯乱させてしまうような強すぎる寄生虫はこれもまた錯乱した宿主と共に殺された。その結果寄生虫と人間は互いに相性がいい種だけが残っていった。これこそがお社様の伝説が伝える鬼と人の血は混じり合ったことの真相。
じゃあつまりその寄生虫はほとんど無害なわけなのか。
I mean, other than the maggot thing.
うん、ミオさんのスクラップ帳によると、そういった無害な寄生虫に感染しているケースというのはかなり多いんだって。食文化にもよるけど、例えば生肉を食べる国では国民の8割くらいが感染している例もあるんだって。でも矯正できてて人体に全く無害だから誰も治療しない、気づかない。だから撲滅もされない。
なるほどな。
太古の綿流しはね、実は腹綿流しと書く物騒なものでね、錯乱した犠牲者の臓腑を食らうものだったの。
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
これも必要なことだった。
感染して犠牲になった人を食らう。まさかワクチンとか。
圭一君はやっぱり頭がいいね。ミオさんもそう読み解いてる。伝説では犠牲者を生きたまま解体して食らったなんて物騒なことになっているけど、実際はそんな野蛮なものじゃなくて、もっともっと医学的に取り扱われていたらしいの。強すぎる寄生虫のせいで死んだ犠牲者からワクチンを作り出し、同時に村人の
Well, that certainly sounds better than just cutting open the infected living people and eating them.
お社様ってのは何者なんだよ一体。医学先進国っていうとドイツか。正体はひょっとしてナンパして流れ着いた外国人医師。
多分圭一君の答えが一番一般的だと思う。ドイツ人ではないんだけど、とりあえず医者的な存在であったのは正解。
古代の伝説の秘密が明かされていくってのはなんだか面白いな。
I don't think that Rena's story is too crazy to be true anymore. It still sounds crazy, of course, but I've never heard any theories that explain the legend of this village better than this one.
多分俺も感染してるんだよな。なんだか体中が痒くなってくるぜ。
人間だって一つの宇宙だよ。体の中には無数の細菌たちが住んでいる。その中には私たちの生活には欠かせない有用な細菌たちも少なくないんだよ。
ああ、よくヨーグルトとかの CM で言ってるよな。確かにそうだ。
これもミオさんの受け売りだけど、例えばシロアリっているでしょ。木材を食い荒らしてしまうアリ。実はシロアリって木材を消化できないんだって。体内に寄生している特殊な細菌が食べた木材の繊維を分解してくれて、その結果シロアリは木材を吸収できるんだって。これも寄生虫と共生している一例だね。
I didn't know that. When I hear the word parasites, I feel creeped out almost instinctively. But now I know some of them aren't so bad to us.
だから太古の昔に鬼ヶ淵村から突如発生した機械
That's because we usually don't use the word parasite there.
根絶されたと言っていい。
Because it's not really a parasite in the sense that it's living off of the host. Rather, it's like coexisting with the host. Whereas parasite is generally more used for like things that are actually harming a host.
根絶じゃないね。無害になったと言うべきだね。
最初はとんでもない話だと思ってたけどさ、こうして種明かしがされるとなんだかサイエンスな感じがしてちょっと面白い話だよな。
私たちには面白いよ。でもお社様を神として崇める人たちにとってはこれはとても不愉快な説。
Of course. If Takano-san's theory is correct, Oyashiro-sama isn't a god. And the punishment by that god, namely the curse of Oyashiro-sama, that people have been so afraid of, will turn out to have been just the symptoms of an infectious disease. I see. That's what dethroning God would mean.
だとすると、もしこの伝染病の病原体を特定して世間に発表されるようなことがあれば、信仰は破綻しちまうな。
そう、それこそが彼らの一番恐れることなの。そしてミオさんはその病原体を特定しようとしていたらしい。そのミオさんが消されたということは
特定できたってことか。
かもしれないね。ミオさんはもういないし、彼女のスクラップ帳にも特定できたとは書かれていない。でも消されるに値する理由が他に思いつかないの。
でもよ、20世紀ももうすぐ終わろうっていう現代だぜ。村人だっていろんな医療機関で検査を受けてきたはずだ。なのにそういう怪しげな寄生虫が摘出されたって話はないんだろう。
うん、確かに病原体そのものは未だ発見されていない。でも確かに何かの規制を受けていることの信号だけは確認されているんだって。
なんだって？本当かよ。
When a parasite enters a human body, that body's immune system cells, eosinophiles and macrophages try to kill the parasite. They secrete an antibody called immunoglobulin E. The most common way of checking if a person is infected by a pathogen is to look at the levels of this secretion. According to Takano's research, people from Hinamizawa have a very high level of IgE in their blood. That's not all. They also have obvious symptoms of being infected by parasites. They don't have any allergies. IgE stimulates mast cells, and they secrete histamines and serotonin as a result. These cause an allergic reaction. That allergic reaction isn't pleasant for humans, but it's necessary for the body to kill the pathogen. But the parasites don't want to be killed, of course, so they secrete substances that counteract IgE. As a result, IgE stops stimulating the receptors of the mast cells, which stops secreting the chemical compounds. As a result, the antigen-antibody reaction, namely the allergic reaction, doesn't occur. In other words, a human body that was infected by a parasite secretes a high level of IgE, but doesn't display allergic reactions. For your information, a human body that's infected by a parasite doesn't suffer from hay fever. You get hay fever due to your body secreting a large amount of IgE, because it's mistaken pollen for a parasitic infection. As a result, a large amount of stimulants, like histamine, will be secreted, but your body can't contain a parasite that it's attempting to kill. That's why your body continues to secrete IgE. As a result, the stimulants keep causing allergic reactions. That's how hay fever works. If you have a parasite in your body, it'll deactivate your IgE and suppress the secretion of stimulants. As a result, you don't have an allergic reaction. In other words, there's no hay fever in Hinamizawa, and you can cure your hay fever by moving here.
つまり特定はできなくてもその存在だけは疑いようがないってわけだ。
そうなるね。
だとするとそのスクラップ帳は信心深い連中にとっては十分危険な存在だな。たとえ特定できなくても存在を証明している時点で十分に危険だと思うぞ。
そうだね。たとえ証拠にはならなくても彼らにとってはミオさんを葬るに値する危険性があったと思う。
確かに恐ろしい秘密だな。ちゃんと説明してもらえば理解できることだが、いきなり聞いたら刺激が強すぎる話だぜ。
でしょ？だから私も最初は信じられなかったし、圭一君に話しても信じてもらえないと思った。
で、大事なのはその事実を隠蔽しようと暗躍してるヤバい連中がいるって方なんだよな。
そう、今大事なのはそっちの方。
The fanatics who want to revive the sanctity of the god they worship. Reviving the majesty of their god means reviving the power of that god. And the power of their god is the infectious disease. This infectious disease can't spread nationwide, unlike other infectious diseases. So from now on, I'm going to start calling it an endemic disease? That fits better, since it only affects this region. Anyway, the endemic disease of current-day Hinamizawa is different from the one of old times. It's been through a process of natural selection, and it's harmless now. In other words, it doesn't do any harm to human bodies. That harm was once interpreted as a curse. A curse is the power of a god, so a harmless endemic disease means that the god is powerless. That means the only way to regain the majesty of that god is to revive the curse. In other words, they want to bring back the primitive endemic disease, namely the harmful strong version of the parasite.
ちょっと待てよ。信者たちは神が実は寄生虫だったなんてことは否定したいんだろう。なのに寄生虫を研究するのかよ。矛盾してないか？
矛盾しているよ。だからこの研究は信者たちのトップだけが知る秘密の研究なんだと思う。彼らは表向きは信仰を盛り上げているけど、その裏では信仰の正体について極めて冷静に理解していて、神の技を自らの手で復活させようとしている。
なるほどな。おいおい、なんだかとんでもない話になってきたぞ。
ミオさんのスクラップ帳にはそうとは一言も書かれてないんだけど。
異例診療所がどうして？
ひなみ沢の規模から見て施設が
No, not
すぎるの
Irie.
がその理由。
Don't say it's Irie. He's too good for this.
そしてミオさんはそこに勤めていた。監督は園崎家にスカウトされてきた細菌学者が正体とか。
監督がか？
ミオさんは余計なことを知りすぎたから消されたんだと思うの。なのに監督が消されない理由は、監督は信者たちに依頼されている立場だから。
そして太古の有害な風土病を研究してるってのか？あの監督が。
Don't say it, Tyrie. He's too good for this. You can't do this to him.
ごめん、監督は無関係かもしれないね。今のは私の思いつき。でも研究は間違いなくどこかで誰かにさせている。そしてその研究には5年かかり、ついに完成を見た。
The first case was the dismemberment murder by the damn construction workers. Their quarrel had turned into a lynching. They might have had the primitive infectious disease, and the symptoms, the aggression and delirium might have kicked in. The victims of the second year were Satoko's parents. There were no witnesses, so the whole event is veiled in mystery. But there's a theory that someone might have pushed them over the cliff, since the fence of the observation deck they fell from was quite sturdy. What if one of them was infected by the primitive parasite? He or she might have become violent and pushed the other over the cliff. The Shinto priest died from a disease, and his wife drowned herself in the third year. He might have died of shock because of a hypersensitive reaction to the infection. His wife might have gone crazy and committed suicide when one of the symptoms, delirium, kicked in. In the fourth year, Satoshi Hojo's aunt was beaten to death, probably by Satoshi himself. Everyone who knew Satoshi-kun remembers how he changed at that time. He showed signs of being both aggressive and delirious. In the fifth year, for the first time in 5 years, the victim experienced the maggot disease described in the old scroll of the Furude Shrine. The reason behind that is unclear, but the stronger primitive parasite could have given its victims a delusion of maggots. This means that they finally managed to duplicate the curse of Oyashiro-sama. After 5 years of research, Tomitake-san is the victim of the 5th year. He died in an extremely abnormal way. And I'm the only one who understands his death, because I experienced the same thing. He kept clawing at his throat to get rid of the maggots and died as a result. With all that explained, I finally understand the maggot disease I experienced in Ibaraki. I left Hinamizawa, and it made the parasite in me uncomfortable. As a result, it tried to resist, even though it wasn't very strong, and it tried to make me homesick. But with my parents' divorce, I grew mentally imbalanced, and I completely lost the power to resist for a period of time. The parasite was weak and harmless, but my mental instability allowed it to worsen my symptoms dramatically. As a result, I went crazy and became violent. The delusion of Oyashiro-sama appearing to me in the bathroom was probably the terminal phase of my delirium. I created the supernatural existence Oyashiro-sama that I was instilled with when I was little. Then I persuaded myself to go back to Hinamizawa, based on that delusion. Some of the transcendents of Onikafuchi must have had the same kind of experience. They must have passed their experiences down as the acts of a god. I remember once I saw on TV that the indigenous people in South America use some kind of natural drug in order to have a mystical experience, and that they called it a ritual to communicate with their gods.